Welcome back to the Marching to Madness College Basketball Podcast with my good friend Tony Stubblefield from the DePaul Blue Demons. The Demons dropped last night's game against St. John's, but they had won two in a row in overtime. Coach, welcome back.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. I wish I was hitting a little bit better note coming off of a victory last night, but I really do appreciate you having me on.
Oh, yeah. That would have been cool. I know Zion and Deshaun Nelson were your two leading scorers at 14 and 13 points, respectively, in last night's game. But the Johnnies shot 51% from the floor.
You know, St. John's has a very good basketball team. Obviously, Mike Anderson is doing a great job with that program over there. And they play a different style. You know, they really get after you defensively. They really push the pace. And I don't know if we did a really good job of handling that on the defensive end of, getting back in transition. Had a couple, turnovers that were very costly for us. And didn't come out with the mentality that you have to come out with on your first Big East game on the road with the intensity that it takes to win those type of games.
You guys are 5-4 right now. Obviously you're improving the program and it's moving up for you despite the loss last night. Offense has been the story, I think, as you've shot 36.1% from three. You made 9.1 3-pointers per game, and that's in the top 14% in college basketball.
We have been a good offensive team, but I really think we're going to have to rest our hat on the defensive end and rebounding the basketball. That's where we got to get much better defensively, being more connected as a team defensively, and we got to do a better job rebounding the basketball. So those are really big points of focus for us. Offensively, I do think we can generate enough points to give ourselves a chance to win. We're a pretty good shooting team as far as shooting the basketball, but we got to get better defensively.
How will this team be able to connect defensively and form that, it's kind of like a wall?
Yeah. Well, right now we're losing. We don't have our two best post defenders in Yornay and Nick Agenda, two guys that are 6'10", 6'11", extremely athletic, do a great job of protecting the rim. And those guys, unfortunately, have been out and are going to be out for a while longer. So we've got to use our quickness defensively of really being able to fight the dribble, trying to create some points off of our defense by creating some turnovers and just, trying to create some havoc out there. And we just haven't been doing a good job of that the last couple of games. So we got to get better with this. So, we're not the biggest team without those guys, but we do have to use our quickness without those guys.
Sure. Now you mentioned Gibson, and of course you got Javan Johnson. They're your top two leading scorers. Both of those guys on offense are able to find their shots. They're key 3-point shooters. Johnson shoots 47.6% from the floor.
With those two guys, they're very dynamic offensively. They're older, experienced guys, guys that transferred in. Mo Gibson came from the University of Oklahoma. Javan Johnson came from Iowa State. So they're definitely threats for us on the offensive end, and they're getting better defensively. But they are. They're veteran basketball players. They're two really good basketball players, and they're older guys.
Yeah, which means experience. And I would say that experience feeds itself on both ends of the floor on offense and defense.
It does. And they're two of the better leaders that we have on this basketball team. And we need them to be well offensively and defensively. We're asking them guys to do a lot. And without Caleb Murphy, without Nick, and without Yor right now, they're having to carry on a much bigger load. We're playing a lot of minutes, night in and night out, probably, 5 to 10 more minutes than what I would like them to be playing, but they're doing a good job of responding to that.
Yeah, you have them, and then you have Philmon as well. How do you implement a 3-point offense when you have all of them healthy? Do you play all three of them together, or do you have a couple at a time and rotate? How does that work?
We will play all three of them together. Obviously, we want to get out in transition. If we can get threes in transition, we're more than open to be able to take those threes. Obviously, the ideal way for us is, off penetration, getting to the paint for kick out threes, playing inside out, having a post threat in there that we can throw it down to if they happen to double that post guy, being able to kick that ball out for threes, but really playing off penetration, trying to get downhill on teams and get catch and shoot three opportunities.
Yeah. Now with these kids, and again, I know every team's different, and now does the 3-point field goal work for you? Have you noticed it better on the fast break or in the half court?
That's a great question. Again, it's probably 50-50.
50.
I really know in the half court when we can get paint touches, whether it's off the bounce or throwing it down to the paint to a post guy and get kick out threes or drive and kick threes, that those are great 3-point opportunities for us and a very high percentage shot for us.
Sure. Now you have Earl Penn as your leading rebounder. He's getting 8.1 per night. Talk about his game and how he fits in, to your scheme or how you want to play on both ends.
Eral is a guy that plays extremely hard every night he steps out there on the court. Really goes after balls. And he transferred in from LIU, and that's one of the things that I thought would really translate when he came to DePaul to play in the Big East was his rebounding. He has a very high motor, so that you're never going to question his effort, how hard he's going to play when he steps out there on the court. Now he's had to take on a much bigger role without Nick, without of having to play the 5-some, and he is a little undersized for that, but he is battling night in and night out, trying to do what we're asking him to do.
Yeah, when he plays the 5, if you think about the continuity of his play, what are some of his strengths and then some things you're trying to work with him on to make him, more well-rounded at that 5 until you get your player back?
Well, I think one thing that helps him is he can shoot the basketball. So having the ability to be a pick and pop 5, I think he has that advantage on guys, driving bigger guys, running the floor, for layups. So, I think he's got to use his skill set to really help him, use his quickness to run the floor, and just continue to play hard doing what he's doing. But just him having the ability to shoot the ball really helps him, because a lot of 5 men don't really want to come out from underneath that rim or come out of that paint to go out there and guard on the perimeter.
Yeah, he obviously spreads the opponent's defense that way and probably opens up even more lanes.
It does. It opens up the floor for us more. It allows us to run a little bit more offensively. And he does a good job doing those things.
Mm-hmm. Coach, you've got Deshaun Nilsson scoring inside at a 70.6% clip from 2. How does he create that type of productivity?
Well, I tell you what, Deshaun's coming from junior college, and it usually takes junior college guys, a little time to get adjusted to this level. And I think he's progressing at a very high rate for us. He's a very good athlete. Obviously, he can score in the basketball. And I think we got to get him more touches down there. When you're shooting that percentage, you got to touch that basketball. And the great thing about Deshaun, he's a willing passer. So if he gets double teamed, he's going to find the open guy, and he's just going to get better. He's very coachable, and he's going to be a good player for us.
That's really good if he's a willing passer, because at his size, if he comes out and you get the double team, you're going to get easier shots, I think.
No, without a doubt, he's a very good passer. He has a good basketball IQ. He has a good skill set, and he's only going to get better and better.
Coach, you have a resilient group in how they came from behind here to win these 2 overtime games against Samford and Loyola Chicago. So how has your team been able to play with those injuries and hit a rotation where, those are 2 good teams? They're picked high in their conferences.
We do have a resilient group. Unfortunately, we're digging ourselves too big of a hole. We're digging ourselves 16 spot teams, 16, 17, 18 points. And so we're having to exert a lot of energy to get back in games. So that's something that I definitely would like to see us improve. Is just coming out, getting better starts to the game. As far as these guys and the opportunity they're getting, a lot of these guys are getting minutes that they probably wouldn't have gotten if Caleb, Nick, and Yor were healthy. So, they're taking advantage of the opportunity that's being given to them. We're playing right at 8 to 9 guys. So, they know they're going to get an opportunity. And I think that's helping us, kind of get a rhythm, guys knowing their role and accepting those roles.
And the development of that depth may be seen, this season, going forward.
I'm hoping it will be, especially when we get a couple of these guys back, that this will pay dividends for us down the road. If these guys getting the opportunity that they're getting right now, and that we'll be able to go, easily 9 and 10 deep.
Coach, analytics is such a big thing in all sports right now. I was just curious if you'd share some of the analytical you feel like are the most important with your basketball team, and then things that you zero in on when you watch other teams.
Analytics is very, very important, becoming, a big part of the game. And what we really use it for is on an offensive standpoint of good shots, again, drive and kick threes, inside out threes, and, seeing what we're getting offensively and the percentage of the shots that we're taking, and vice versa, even from a defensive standpoint of really trying not to give up driving kick threes, guarding the 3-point line, making teams take hard twos, challenge floaters, contested shots. So if you make teams take challenge shots, contested twos, they're not a very high percentage shot. So that's what we lock on from a defensive standpoint. But analytics is becoming a big part of the game.
Last thing, Coach, and I've been asking everybody this since I put the show back on. The NCAA tournament, in my mind, is the greatest sports event we have with conference tournaments. The whole, mantra there. I'm just curious about your thoughts about NCAA tournament expansion and how you think that would be good, maybe for you, but for the game.
Well, obviously the NCAA tournament is huge. I think all the fans love it. It's watched throughout the world. It's a very exciting time. March Madness, there's nothing like it. I think the system in place we have right now is great, but things do change, things do evolve, and that's way beyond my pay grade. I'm sure they'll come up with the right number if things do change, and I'm sure it'd be just as good, as not better, if that's what it comes down to. But the system that we have in place, college basketball, is a great sport. People love locking in the March Madness. You see the upsets, and there's just a lot of parity in college basketball. You're going to see even more of that with the transfer portal and things of that nature. But as far as the NCAA tournament, I think we got a great system in place. Again, I know things do change. And whatever they decide to do, I'm sure they'll come up with a good plan.
Coach Tony Stubblefield, ladies and gentlemen, the Big East Conference in Chicago, the DePaul Blue Demons are 5-4. They're going to be a must watch, especially when he gets his whole team back and he's got the talent there that's going to be tough to match up with so many experienced players. Coach, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for having me on. Have a good one.